There we go. Hello, official start. Because I started recording OBS. Cool. So you guys on YouTube didn't get that introduction, but it's fine. You'll figure it out. So, first of all, let's try and make a second gun. So I'm gonna say that's the first objective of today, to make a second gun. I was thinking about making something ray trace, like making like a assault rifle or something that you, like a CS gun or something, that you sort of do ray trace to make a sort of more realistic gun, and then maybe add spread or something. I thought that could be cool to do. But first of all, we need to make like a way to switch guns out. So because now we have this projectile here, and we want to switch that out to be just a something else. So the way I saw you guys do, a lot of you guys do it, is to make actors, right? So you have like a base actor for a weapon. Excuse me. You have like a base actor for a weapon, and then you inherit from that with different weapons, and then you switching between those actors. And I think that's actually a very good way of doing that. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna make sort of a base actor. Gonna make a base actor for, you know, weapons that can be equipped by the player, and then I'm gonna inherit from that to make, you know, all my derivative weapons. So let's do that. So I will go into code. By the way, I have a new keyboard. I have like an Ergodox fucking split keyboard. So I'm gonna be typing in like excruciatingly slow as I'm getting used to the new layout. So I hope that's okay.
I have one too. It's amazing when you get used to it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Ergodox. It's very nice. A lot of people at work have it, so I when my keyboard broke, I also broke and bought one. Weapon. So I'll just make a folder of weapons, and I'll make a weapon base here. So let's do weapon base .h. Whoops. Okay, that's fine. Then I'll make another one. Whoops. Call it weapon base .txt is wrong. Wanted.cpp. Go. All right. No, I forgot. Oh, Visual Studio. Fuck. I gotta update. I forgot my version of Visual Studio crashes whenever you try to split the window. It's a great editor. What are you talking about? You don't need fucking Rider. Who wouldn't want their editor to crash when you try to split the window?
Yeah, I did a bit of searching around on that. Apparently, it was a Windows update that breaks it.
Really?
Like some cumulative .NET updates.
Oh, well, thanks. Windows.NET. Alright. So. Get a Pragma onces. Whoops. Where's hashtag? There it is. Pragma once. Alright, so we'll make our class here. Weapon. Whoops. Base. And that's going to inherit from a actor. No. There we go. Slowly. Give you guys time to... what? No! Oh no. Okay, there we go. Gonna generate our bodies. Generate body. Alright. So I'll just include... let's see here. Game... Oops. Framework. Actor.h. I think that's right. Let's compile. Oh no, I forgot my generator.h. I'm a dummy. I'm a dum-dum. Oops. So include weapon base dot generated h. There we go. Oops. Whoops. Save that. Compile that.
It shouldn't be generated.
Yes. Very good. There we go. It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. Maybe I should do some checkup actually. Was there anything you've learned or anything you want to like bring up from these days on your own with Unreal Engine?
I have a question. Say that you're making a like an overall system that is always going to be active during gameplay. Say maybe keeping track of where the player is and doing various things depending on well what has happened. Sort of like a game manager or something.
Yeah.
What would you create that class as? Would that be an actor, or how would you implement it?
It depends. It depends if it's only supposed to be in the level. So if it's like it's a level specific thing, or it's okay if the data sort of gets purged in between levels. I would probably just have it as an actor, just as like a player tracker actor. If it's supposed to be game based, so if it's supposed to be like it has to be alive for the whole game, even when transitioning between levels. Because we haven't really talked about that yet, but transitioning between levels just wipes everything. Like everything gets wiped. Then you want to make something called a game instance.
Okay, so like an AI manager, for example, could very well be an actor, as each individual level will have their own instance of it.
Yeah, that I would make, yeah. And then that manager would just have a list of all of the AIs in them.
Yeah. Sweet. Thank you.
Could you make a game manager out of like a game mode? Or like, does the game mode persist between levels?
Game mode does not persist between levels. You get created every map.
Cool. Makes sense.
But you could probably create it through the game mode, right?
Yeah, you could do
But
that.
the game mode always instantiates one.
Yeah, you can do that. That's a good point. But there's something called a game instance, which you will probably get to at some point. It's sort of the only thing that's persistent in between levels is something called a game manager. No, game instance. Got tripping up. Something called a game instance, and that's the only thing that's actually persistent through the levels, and that gets instantiated when you start the game, and then it just stays alive forever. So if you need something that's actually global, like a level streaming system or network system or whatever, then you want to put that sort of in the game instance somehow. Then it like spawns a U object or creates just a class or something. We'll probably look at that at some point. That's a good question.
Something I was wondering, in the event graph, is it possible to, how to say it, when you create, for example, when you're creating a respawn, when you have this, we made this response component, and then could instantiate it on what event graph. So for example, you could connect it to a print graph, so it would print out on the output log when the object with the response component is hit. Yes. Is it possible to connect that response blueprint to how you say it, a blueprint event also created in another object, in another actor or something like that?
Well, you can't add the events easily like you can in the level blueprints, because in the level blueprint you can just like right-click right and be like, oh, here is at least a list of all the events. The way I would do it in that case, if I wanted to have it in like another actor, like it responds to an event or something, I would just have a reference to the other actor in that actor. So it's like make a property that's just a pointer, right? Or in Blueprint, just a actor reference. And then I would get the delegate on that actor on like begin play or something. So on begin play, I will just get the delegate or get the event and then bind up to it manually in begin play. So that's the way I would handle that in that case. Because you cannot have direct references to other like specific instances of actors in actors, because they could be in any level. Let's start the game actually so I can show you. Probably best. We haven't actually talked about the level blueprint at all. It's kind of interesting that I've forgotten that part of Unreal, because I'm so rarely using it. That's mostly for like level designers to sit in there, but
Since when has a game ever needed levels?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we should get rid of the concept of levels in general, used to mechanics in squares, but
We
level
make
designers.
everything really abstract, like
Yeah.
art, and then people will have to find their own enjoyment.
yeah, the box map in Unreal Tournament was the most popular anyways. So like here's something called a level blueprint. So if you go into blueprints and then open level blueprint here, you will go into an event graph. So it's not an actor, because I can't go in and like change components and stuff. It's only an event graph. And this is for the level. So this is a level specific thing. So it doesn't matter which actor is in here. This level blueprint will always run no matter what. So if I print here, for example, hello, and then run. And then we have two hellos now because something else is also printing hello. Let's just do. There we go. There we go. So we only have one hello stuff. And that's actually the level blueprint printing that out. And what's nice about the level blueprints compared to other blueprints is that you can very easily have direct references to stuff. So if, for example, something very common in video games in general is that you go through like a level trigger or something. Like I go through a box, and then something happens, like you play a cutscene, or you spawn some enemies or something. And that's very easy to do in level blueprints. That's why we usually do that stuff there. So if I go into place actors here, I can very easily see there's a box trigger here. So I can just drag that out. And that's usually an actor with like a box component here. So that's all there. All it is pretty simple actor. But I can drag that out, like scale it up a little bit. Whoops. Like that. So now if the player goes through there will be an overlap component here. So if I go and... So now I overlap with it. Fantastic. But of course nothing happens because it doesn't have any code tied to it. So you could solve this by making like a level trigger actor that has some sort of code in it. But it becomes very tricky when you want to do level specific things. So let's say when I go through here, I want to restart the level. It's like a death barrier, right? So when I go through here, I want to restart the level. Then that's very easy to hook up in level blueprint, because you can just select it. So we select the trigger, go into level blueprints, and up here you can see there's this little section here, and that's only specific for this trigger box. So you can have you can call functions on it. So you can call here's specific functions that I can call on that specific instance of an actor. That's only, you can only do this this easily in level blueprints. We can also add events. So let's say I want to do on begin overlap, right? I can just add a node, like one of these event nodes, that will run when this specific trigger box is overlapping something. So that's very nice and convenient. And that's why usually stuff like level scripts and triggers and stuff are usually scripted in the level blueprints. So here I can just do prints. Oh no, I'm dead. Now if we play, if I go through here, hopefully. Oh no, I'm dead. It's printing up there. It's very small text, but so you can hook up events to specific instances of actors, which is very nice, very convenient. But the question was, okay, how would I do this in another actor, if I understand your question correctly? Like you kind of want to do something like this, but not in the level blueprint, but in like in another object, like another actor. Is that sort of what you were asking?
Some like the more. It was more because I noticed that after I created functions or so, which I made blueprint callable or implementable, I noticed you could only call them inside their own event graphs. But yeah, like if you were inside one actor and wanted to call the blueprint from which I made in another, it wouldn't show up.
Really?
Well, at least because I wasn't exactly sure how to do it. Like for example, now with the blue response component, how would you try and get a blueprint callable or implementable event from the projectile that hit you?
Could you repeat the question?
How you would using the response or on the object where the response component is in its event graph, how you would get the event like blueprint callable or implementable event you made inside another actor, or in this case the projectile that hit you.
You want to call a function on the other blueprints?
Kind of like that. For example, yeah, like we have the blue response component on the player, and the projectile hits. So now, how would you, for example, connect the response component in the event graph to a blueprint event which you made inside the projectile? So you would get it from the projectile that hit you.
So here I have a hit, right? And you want to get like, okay, so we don't send the projectile, but if I send the projectile in this event, do you want to be able to like call a function on the projectile or something?
Yeah, something like that.
It shouldn't be, at least I'm misunderstanding you, it shouldn't be too tricky. If we go into, oops. Oh no. Shift Alt O. There we go. Where did we have that component? I don't remember. Projectile response. I haven't remade my project in so long. Let's just go into player. There it is. Yeah, I'm a coder. Okay, so here we could probably send in then the pointer to the projectile that hit us. So we can just forward declare it first of all. So let's forward declare the a fuck projectile. Whoops. Like so. And then, so we want to add a parameter to this then. So we have a delegate here that we made that doesn't take any parameters. To make a parameter, we have to do the ugly one param suffix to the macro. So then we want to send in a fuck projectile pointer. There we go. And we're gonna call it projectile. So we do the type, first the type, colon, and then the name. So first the type, colon, and then the name. I think, I mean, I guess we'll see if this even works, but As I said, I'm not the best with making C++ delegates. Oh. That doesn't look very good. Oh god.
It's not supposed to be a pointer, right? In the
Cannot convert
parameter.
argument 2 from... Oh, okay, yeah, okay, so this
Did
is...
you pass in when you broadcasted?
This is a very weird... this is just a very, very weird way of saying... First of all, this broadcast needs an argument. So I'm gonna do that. This. So it's gonna send in itself. And these ones are just a very weird way of saying these methods don't fit the... They don't fit the signature anymore. Because these are just the void functions that takes no parameters, so we have to update those. Let's do that real quick. So I need to add a oops. Fuck projectile pointer. Projectile. Like so. Now maybe. Maybe, baby. Oh, whoops. I need to add these as well. Cause C++, do everything twice, baby. That's probably my least favorite part of what... my least favorite part about C++ is the fact that you have to do everything twice. Oops. Projectile. There we go. Painfully slow. Maybe now? Maybe? Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, so now we're sending in the actual projectile that was that hit us in the delegate. So that's pretty cool. It seems like a reasonable feature. Okay, so now in the enemy, now we have this node here for the projectile that actually was hitting us. So now we should be able to use call functions on here, right? Because that was the question. If I make like a go into fuck projectile, and I have just a function here. Let's see. So add like a do very cool thing. Something like that. And then make a function. Then let's see. What is it? Is it like Shift Alt Q to bring up the cool menu? Fuck, how do you do it? I don't have like the actual keys. I only have like the stroke in my hand. Do you guys remember? Fuck it, I'll just do it. Whatever.
Alt Shift Q for the automatic finishing thing to build the CPP.
Alt
files, right?
Shift Q. Alt Shift Q. There's no. Whatever. I'll do it with the mouse. Okay, so do a very cool thing, and I will use do nothing. It's very funny to me for some reason. Alright. It's just no up. And okay, so this is actually a good question. I don't know if this will actually be callable from Blueprint. My guessing is no. Because in general, these like U functions and U properties are very like hidden by default. And you actually have to specify them as... Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I know this is not callable. this is actually a very good point to do. There's actually two ways of declaring a ufunction as callable from Blueprint. So right now, if I go in here, I cannot find this function. So if I try to do very cool thing, oh no, there's no such thing. It can't do cool things, only lame things. So the way to make something callable from Blueprint is to just in the ufunction specify Blueprint callable. Like so. Maybe this even hot compiles, maybe. It's a lottery. Okay. Now maybe. If I search for a very cool thing. Actually taking a hot reloaded. Fuck. It's like, this scares me. That's just like, what the fuck? Very cool. Okay. Doesn't seem so I will just...
I have a theory around that. I think it often succeeds if you first close down the blueprint and then hot compile.
Oh, yeah, I should have done that. Fuck. That's a good one. Yes, usually you have to like jigger it awake. Good point. Okay, so let's see. Do very cool thing. I wonder what they'll do. Could be
Nice.
anything. So now, okay, so that's cool. So that's one way of making a function blueprint callable. But there's one other way of having functions in Blueprint that you might have seen. Maybe, I don't know. We haven't worked that much in Blueprint, but if I drag this out and do something like get name, for example, get game name, yeah, sure. You can see here, this is a function, right? Like it has an F in it. It's green, but it doesn't have an exec pin, right? It doesn't. There's no like pin going into it like this and then coming out of it to define the flow of execution. So how does it work? Well, the way that it works is that it actually goes backwards, right? So it always follows the exec pin. So we'll follow, if we come out of this on the on projectile hit, we'll follow the exec pin here, go to print string, and then it will resolve all of the arguments first. So it will sort of go backwards to resolve each argument. So we'll take the in string here, go backwards, and then call this function to resolve the string. These are called pure functions, that's what they're called. So pure functions are not ran with the exec pin, they are ran through their output evaluation.
Is that when those you wanna make by writing blueprint pure inside the U function?
Yes, exactly. Very good. So the way you do that is if you want to do like, go away, go. Okay. If you want to do something like, okay, I want to do the get very cool number, get super cool number. Fuck. There we go. So we have a function here that gives us a cool number. Maybe we get like the velocity of the bullet or something. It doesn't really matter, whatever it does. So if I wanna define this, fuck. Okay, so let's do that. It will return. Can you guys give me a very cool number?
3.14.
3.
Oh wait, no. What am I saying? 6.28.
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to
Yes,
change
how?
your circle constants midway through. You pick one and you stick to it. We don't tau here. Actually, I was the one who defined tau for AngelScript, so I'm with you. I like it. Okay, so I made this a blueprint callable by default. Let's see what happens, because that makes sense. Like, we want to be able to call it from blueprints, right, guys? Right, guys? Right? So I compile.
Obviously.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? You're with me.
Left.
We're all friends here. Like, we can talk.
There's no left. There's only negative right.
There's- I want to get the fucking tattoo, dude. I want to get that tattooed so bad.
That's the new poster for the classroom, straight up.
It's only negative, right? All right, so if I drag out from the projectile here, and I want to get the cool number, then so get very cool. What was it called? Super cool number. No, get cool. All right, I try to work with you, Unreal, and you fucking. Number. No, okay. Well, yeah.
Wouldn't pure just be the same as making the function const?
Sorry.
I mean, a pure function, isn't it just a const function? So if you made it const, maybe it would be pure in the blueprint.
No, not really. Because, I mean, you can have a const function that does things, that mutates. The only thing that a const function doesn't guarantees is that you don't mutate the object itself. But you can still have a const function that, like, spawns an actor or sets a value on some other parameter.
Oh, so pure functions can't do that either.
Yeah, so only making a const won't guarantee that it doesn't mutate. That being said, pure functions, I mean, they shouldn't mutate, but there's no reason they can't, even though that's very scary. So if you make a pure function that mutates, then you won't get married or something like this. Something bad happens to you, so don't do it. So yeah, but it's a good point that you should make your pure functions const, because they shouldn't mutate, even though they can. And even if you would make them const, they could still mutate, but it's a little bit more of a guarantee. Anyways, so we'll do super cool number. Oh no, the humanity. This is not what I wanted. Alright, so I'm gonna teach you guys a fucking valuable lesson in blueprinting right now. You see this? You see how the lines are like lining up like this? And there's like 3 lines in here. I'm gonna teach you something called redirect nodes, and I want you guys to use this always because everyone will like you. If you double click on a line, you'll get like a sort of little in-between node here. And use these often because they make everything so much fucking easier to read. So I will make this a little bit cleaner like this, and I'll add one in here. So instead of having this line going directly here, I'll just remove this by alt-clicking. So I'll alt-click to remove it, and then I'll just plug it in right there. And now it becomes 1,000 times more easier to read what's actually going on here, which node is going into which other node. So this is one of the ways to make Blueprint actually bearable to read.
Wait, could you do it
I
again?
can't believe no one has ever shown that to me before.
Could you do it again, please?
Never seen that.
I'll do it again.
You just blew my mind, to be honest.
I accidentally do that all the time.
So this is what it looks like now, and if I see this, I cry because I can't clearly see which node is going into what node. You never want nodes to overlap like this. You want them to be like sort of on their own. It's sort of like doing circuits, I guess. So what you do is you double click on this line, bang bang, to make a redirect node like this. You can drag around. So I just put this up here. I'm gonna add another redirect node here. Put it over here. So it jumps over these nodes.
Don't do the third one though. It's enough to draw from the first one.
No, if you make one, so this is like the same object, right? So here's like a bus lane of like this is the projectile. Then there's a
but
billion
it might
ways.
have a performance impact.
No, it won't. It will not have a performance impact.
Just visually in the blueprint editor, you have more and more nodes. They will destroy everything.
Well, if you have I'm gonna fucking reboot that. If you have a blueprint that has so many nodes that it's lagging, then use functions, please, or do something else. Except for level blueprint is the only one that's allowed to lag because it's like they want the flow of everything. Okay. But yeah, if I go into level blueprint and I see this, then I cry. Then I'm like, please, make them nice. In my opinion, okay, I'm gonna die on this hill. This is not science. This is just my fucking old man opinions of working in blueprints a lot. But
what about?
Let me blow your mind. If you select several nodes and press Q, they line up perfectly.
Oh, is that the default binding? Oh,
yeah,
it's Q. That's cool. Is it the line by this?
Sometimes they won't like make they refuse to be a straight line, but if you do that, it forces it to.
That's cool.
And I fucking love it.
I actually made a plugin at Hazelight, or a little tool, where if you make a connection between two nodes, so if I like make a connection here and I hold shift as I make the connection, it will like auto straighten it, which was super nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I use that everywhere. So now I'm sad when I'm not working at Hazelight, where I'm just like, oh, I just hold shift, and it's like, it doesn't do anything. I have to do it manually. All right, cool. So anyways, that's the blueprint tip for you. But of course, this is not what we wanted. This is lame. Because we want to be able to get the number anywhere. We don't want to have to like call the function, and that will like set this output value. Because that's what happens if you have an output value from an exec. It will run it, set the output value to whatever the output value is, and then it will just stay that number forever until you, I guess, call the exec again. But we want to just get this cool number from anywhere. We don't care that you like it. This can be useful when you're doing stuff like line traces. So if I do like a line trace here, line trace by channel. This is very good to have as an exec, because you only want to make sure it happens once, right? We want to run it at some point, and then we might use the output in several places. Like we might reuse this output to like do 10 different things. But we want to make sure that we have control when the line trace happens, because it's kind of expensive, and we want the output to stay the same. So we wouldn't want this, for example, to be a pure function, even though it technically could be. This we want to keep as an exec because it's quite expensive. But something that's cheap and we just want to get the number from, and we're relatively confident that this number won't change, then that's a perfect time to make something a pure function. So let's do that. So I'm just going to make that a pure function. And the way you do that is that instead of doing blueprint callable, you do blueprint pure. It's so pure. It's so mwah. And then
Wait, so you can't won't it call the function again every time it requires the number?
Yes.
Does it like cache it?
It will call it every time.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's like I don't know. I don't fucking know what Unreal does, but I would assume so. It might like optimize it out sometimes. I'm not quite sure honestly, but yeah, it's
technically like by the definition of a pure function, it is allowed to have an internal state that it mutates. Like it can have a counter or something that it's incrementing in there. So if their definitions are in line with what everyone else thinks a pure function is, then it should recall every time.
Cool, nice.
Then
Yeah,
again,
but I,
this is Unreal.
It is Unreal. But it is Unreal. I would say it's undefined just to be like safe, just to give myself wiggle room. That is like, don't mutate anything in pure because you don't know it, like it might optimize something out. Like maybe it does, who knows? So then it's good to be like, give yourself wiggle room to not mutate in there. Don't do a counter. So if I drag out here and I do I have to do from projectile, sorry. Very cool. Please, I don't want to restart again. I really don't want to restart again. What? Out of date? Oh, okay. Maybe this okay, so it says here it's out of date. Please refresh it. Thank you for not doing it for me. It's like, you're a computer, you can do it. So I at least have to go here and do find reference. No, not find references. What the fuck am I doing? Right click and just do refresh notes here. And there you go. So it's really, it says, I don't know. Unreal told me to do it. Now, okay, so now it's not hot reloaded in all caps here. So now perhaps maybe it will work to actually get the very cool number. Very cool. Super cool number, sorry. There it is. And it's a pure function, baby. Ow! So that's cool. So pure functions can have inputs, just like regular functions. So the only difference here is that instead of, well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Instead of the executing, and then it resolves all the arguments, like it's the same thing, but it goes backwards, right? So we come to this print string. It starts evaluating the parameters. It will start evaluating the string, goes backwards. This convert node is sort of a pure function. It looks like something else. It will evaluate its inputs, and then the same thing will happen here. It will evaluate its inputs, and so on. So it will sort of go backwards in a chain like this until it's just like wraps back up again, and then it has resolved the string. Cool. So now we know about blueprint callables and blueprint pures. Please, thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm Mr. Unreal. Hello, I made this. Any questions on that? I know this is what kind of like a weird information dump, but I couldn't think of any other way to do it. So I'm just gonna show you now, and then like you will forget, and then we'll do it some other time when it's actually relevant, and then that will be the second time. No questions, crystal clear. All right.
Well,
so
I don't know why we did this, but I understood what we did.
Yeah, we did this. Like, it was kind of a bad example because we didn't have any specific thing. I just made two random functions that don't do anything. It would have been better maybe to explain this perhaps when we had like a point for it. But I don't know. I don't know when we're gonna sit in Blueprint the next time, and it's good to know these things if you want to do them yourselves. So I thought I would like just throw that information at you.
So it's like, well, you need to do something with the object you're dealing with in between stuff, and you want to have it accessed in the blueprint rather than only in code.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's very many reasons you want to make something callable from Blueprint.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in the level script, for example, and they want to like call your systems, right? They want to make stuff happen that you've done, then they're gonna need to call stuff. And sometimes they just want to get some information from you, like, okay, how many times has the player died, or you know, how many weapons does the player have equipped to like draw it on the screen or something. Then you probably want to make functions like pure functions for them to be able to get that information from you.
Okay, cool.
So this is done very like all the time. All the time
Nice.
we do this to breach the gap between C++ and Blueprints.
Yeah.
I noticed something yesterday when working with Blueprints, and that is apparently that text and strings are different things.
Yes.
It's and the weird thing was that it says like returns text in within parentheses string, and it's like, but it is converted from a string to text, so like it's not the same thing. But alright, cool,
There
I
are
guess.
3 different ways. There are 3 different strings in Unreal. There's F string, which is just a string. It's like it's the most basic one. There's F name. Do you guys remember what F name was?
Oh yeah. Fuck, that was annoying.
F name was that it
F-names
converts
are
it to
like
an integer.
hash string, right?
Yes, it's essentially a hash string. It converts to an integer so that it's very fast to compare. So F name is for comparisons. So if you have like a T map that maps from string to object or something, then you want to probably have that as an F name, because then it's just an integer comparison rather than a string comparison. That's an optimization thing. And then there's F text, and F text is localized. That's the reason. That's the point of F text. So an F text is automatically added to like the localization database and stuff like that. So if you make something in F text and type it in, it will get added to like a database of like strings that need to be localized, and that's it.
The conversion node here, is it turning a float to a string?
Yes, this is turning a float to a string.
Yep.
Cool. So usually stuff like development stuff is usually just strings, like here's just in string, right? But if you would do something like a text box in a widget, that would always be text, because they will always assume that you want to localize this. So yeah.
How do you make F name and F text? Because like F string is just text, and or the macro, or maybe that's F text.
So text is just an is just the literal string thing. It has nothing to do with F text. The way to convert them is in code. I mean, in code is quite easy. Like if you want to make an F name, you just do like F name. We've done it already, sort of under your noses. You do F name as equal to, and it just implicitly converts from strings. So you can just do equals text. Hello. And for F text, it's a little bit more complicated. You can either do the ugly way, which is like you should almost never do this, if you do, unless you really have to. Is you do F text : from string, and then in parentheses, hello. So that will just like hard convert a string to an ftext. No localization will be made here. It will not get added to any database or anything. So this will never be localized. So don't do this unless you're super sure that this is never going to be localized. Although, I mean, since you're just like working, like, I mean, I guess this is more of a, like if you're working at a company, like when you're doing game projects, of course nothing's going to be localized, so you can just do this. But like, you know, the actual game developer in me, AAA, are telling you never to do this, but you can do it. It's fine. But yeah, don't tell anyone I said that. The way you actually do it, if you're a good boy, lock text, is that you type something called lock text. Yes, there we go. You call something called lock text, and the way lock text works is that it will. Oh yeah, we have to do namespace. Sorry, lock text and then namespace. There we go. This will add it to this like amazing. No, it's not. Oh, I've always forget. I never do this in. It's NS lock text. That's what it is. There we go. Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go. So this will add it to this database. So it will be sort of like this will insert code to actually add this somewhere. I don't exactly know how it works. It's magic, but yeah, just trust me on this. So we'll take a namespace, and this is, yeah, I mean, this is just essentially just for the localizers to easily be able to group stuff together. So there's a namespace, and that's just like, okay, what's bigger group of text is this gonna be in? So that might be, okay, this is in, I don't know, menus or something. Or it might be like, your gun, like, all the text for my assault rifle is in namespace assault rifle or something, or weapons. And then it's the key, and that's just like what the key is gonna show up as in the database. So that might be OK button or something. Like, it depends on what you're doing. And then it's just the text literal, and that's just gonna be in English what you want the text to be. I think I should have wrapped all of this in text actually. I don't know. Probably should have. And that's just going to be in English what you want the default text to be. And that's going to show up in the database to be like, this is the text to be localized. And then they will turn that into, you know, whatever language they're hired to do. So it'll be like, press OK to win or something.
What does localized mean, and why would you need to use it? Or what's the benefits of it?
Localized is translation.
Translate, as in like translation between languages?
Yes.
Or?
So if you want to translate your game to other languages.
Oh, right.
So that's
makes sense. Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, all the strings in It Takes Two, for example, that needs to be localized, everything that needs to be shown to the player in any way have to be F texts, and we have to use this NSLock text to make that work. Otherwise, there will be some string where someone has done like F text from string, it's fine, and then that will just be like an English word, just like showing up in this. Everything else is just German or something. So yeah. But it's cool that they've done this like by default, so that's nice. And to be fair, it's much easier to do in Blueprint. In Blueprint, you just make an ftext variable, and then it's just fine. It just works. It just does it itself. So it's just in code. It's kind of annoying to do this thing. Cool. So those are the three different strings: F string, F name, and F text. And hopefully now you know the difference, and you will you might remember them, but probably you won't remember them, and that's fine. You can just look them up later.
One thing I just figured out, right now, there are probably more tutorials and such that show for coding gameplay where they use blueprints instead of C++. It shouldn't be too hard to, translate the blueprints to C++, right? They're gonna be working principally in the same way.
What do you mean?
I mean, like in Unreal, you can make a game completely in blueprints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, but looking at them should work to like, for example, if you look at a tutorial on how to make something in a game with blueprints, it shouldn't be hard to do it in C++ instead. Like you see what nodes they use and such, and simply just use the code versions instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's few things that are blueprints exclusive. So most things you can use to encode, even though maybe you shouldn't. Like widgets, don't do widgets in code. All right, any last questions? And then we'll take a break. It was tangent galore, but it's fine. I guess it's good to catch up after a week of being separated. I've missed you guys. I want to have some banter before we get into the hard stuff. So that's fine.
Oh shit, there's hard stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna do hard stuff today. It's gonna be hard.
Oh God.
Oh god.
But it's okay because we are hard. We are hard, so we can do hard things, right?
I haven't been hard since I stopped practicing basketball. I've been kind of soft.
You've been softening up. That's fine. We're softies on the inside, so it's fine. All right, guys.
That's fine. It's just saying to Lily, so we've got all weekend to recover from whatever the fuck's about to happen.
Whatever the fuck's about, yeah, you're gonna need some counseling after today. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, guys. Let's take a 10-minute break, and I'll see you guys soon.
Cool. See you soon.
See ya.
See you soon.